Now that we finished the basics for Unit 4 on Unit 5 on congruent triangles, we're going to move into congruent triangles themselves. Our essential question today is, how do I identify corresponding parts of congruent triangles and write congruency statements? I think my S fell off there, but stick the S on your own paper. All right, so we do have a definition here of congruent triangles, and it is optional whether or not you make a note card for this one, because we've talked about congruent and we've talked about triangles before. But congruent triangles are triangles with exactly the same shape and exactly the same size. And this means that all corresponding parts meaning the angles and sides, are congruent. So what is a congruency statement? And that's actually very important because you'll be asked to write congruency statements. And if you don't know what that is, it's difficult to write one. As long as your triangles are congruent, we can write what is called the congruency statement. And a congruency statement must match all corresponding angles and sides. In other words, the order you write your congruency statement in is critical, absolutely critical. So this first triangle, triangle ABC, I'm just going to write that in alphabetical order. And that's going to be congruent to this second triangle. Now, angle A has one arc, and so does angle D. A came first, so D must come first. B has two arcs, so does E. B came second, E must come second. C has three arcs, so does F. C is in the third spot, F must be in the third spot. This second triangle is not always in alphabetical order, and that's real important to note. But the nice thing is I could give you information on angle B, for example, and because angle B is in the middle, you would know that information was also true for angle E. So the definition of congruent triangles actually states that all corresponding angles and all corresponding sides are congruent. Some textbooks call this corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Do not use this acronym. Okay, CPCTC, nobody remembers what it stands for, and it's not an actual theorem or definition. Okay, it's a made-up acronym out of a textbook. All right, it's also one of my pet peeves. We will always use definition of congruent triangles when we say that corresponding angles or corresponding sides are congruent. So let's actually try one of these here. Given triangle KPM is congruent to triangle AYC, so K is congruent to A. I'm going to use circles. P is congruent to Y. I'm going to use a square. And then M is congruent to C. I'm going to use triangles here. Okay, the order matters. So in this first one, KM, I'm going circle to triangle. I want to go the same order in my second triangle. So circle to triangle will be AC. Do not forget the bar. We're talking about a segment. Angle Y is squared, and it is congruent to angle P. All right, pause your video for a minute and fill in the rest. All right, check your work. Make sure that you match the corresponding angles in every single statement. All right, for number 2, we're asked to list all congruent angles and all congruent sides. So there's 2 ways to go about this, right? I can do J to P. Whoops. Ah, why do I have a highlighter? K to Q. And L to R. Okay, then I can say JK to PQ. KL to QR. And JL to PR. So I did that just using my congruency statement and matching the order or placement of each of the letters or vertices. If that's not easy for you, then I strongly encourage you to just draw a little sketch. J, K, L, P, Q, R, J to P, K to Q, and use your sketch to help you match it up. All right, let's take a look at number 3. Given triangle GHJ is congruent to triangle XYZ. So G to X, H to Y, and J to Z. Find each missing measure. All right, pause your video and give this a try. Okay, so I started off by completely labeling my diagrams, filling in all of the information I knew. Then I figured out the measurement of my base angles. 180 minus the apex angle of 38 was 142. Split that in half, and each of the base angles were 71 degrees. Did you remember to put the units? There were units in the problem. There should be units in your answer. Okay, if triangle QRS is congruent to triangle MNP. Alrighty, so you know I want to sketch. QRSMNP. Okay, QR is 11, QS is 15, MP is 2x plus 1, angle S 84, angle R 32, angle M 17y minus 4. Okay, so let's see here. I've got QS congruent to MP based on my diagram, which means MP has to equal 15, just like QS. So 2x plus 1 equals 15. X is 7. Figuring out Y is a little more complicated, but M and Q are both congruent angles. So 32 plus 84 plus 17y minus 4 equals 180, because 17y minus 4 can be put in here for Q. And then I can use my triangle sum theorem. So let's see. 84 minus 4 is 80, plus 32 is 112. Let's see, 70, 68. Y equals 4. All right, so at this point, write me a summary about what it takes to match the corresponding parts and how to write a congruency statement.